Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and today's special Halloween episode. So today we're going to be talking about DNA, and that's the stuff that makes you you, and personally I think that's pretty spooky. So let's just get right into it. So, first of all, what does DNA stand for? DNA stands for deoxyribose nucleic acid. Sorry, it's actually deoxyribo. It's just, yeah, okay. Deoxyribo nucleic acid. Yeah. Sorry, I got confused because deoxyribose is the sugar that we have. Speaking of that sugar, let's talk about what DNA looks like. So, as I mentioned, we have this sugar in the shape of a pentagon, which, if you know your shapes, has 5 sides. And in the case of DNA, specifically, this will be deoxyribose. Also, it has a phosphate group, which will be represented by this circle here. And what a phosphate group is, it's a functional group in of elements that looks like this. So that's what the phosphate group looks like. And then we have our base, our nitrogenous base, which will, in this case, I'll draw it like this. But sometimes it'll be drawn like this. That's my attempt at a hexagon, just, whatever. So, this is what the basic structure of a nucleotide is. So, the word nucleotide you may recognize nucleo from nucleic acid. And also you might know the word nucleus in a cell. If we took a cell, put it under a microscope, you would see this big structure that's the nucleus. So this is where the DNA will actually be. Inside of a cell. That's where you'll find all of your DNA, because there's something surrounding the nucleus that only lets really small things out. So DNA itself will not be able to leave the nucleus. It actually will have to copy itself and send in a smaller form of itself called RNA. But I won't get into RNA right now. So back to this nucleotide. Nucleotide, this structure is what we call a monomer of nucleic acids, and DNA is actually a nucleic acid. DNA and RNA are the nucleic acids. So if nucleotides are the monomers, that makes the nucleic acids the polymers. Mono meaning one, and poly meaning many. Right? Because nucleic acids are macromolecules. Other macromolecules you might know are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins. So if we have that macromolecule, that big thing, it's made up of many of these small nucleotides. So let me explain to you how these all fit together. DNA, you may know, is a double helix, and I'm going to do my best to draw. That's horrendous, but that's one strand, and then, oh god, I have literally no idea how to draw this. That'll serve as our other strand. Just try to imagine that as a double strand. And you have your, you may have looked at a picture of DNA before, where you have these things coming across. I'm sure you recognize this. So yeah, that's kind of what DNA looks like. I'm really trying my best. So if we zoom in let's take about like this area right here. If we zoom in on that, you will see the nucleotide structure that I just drew for you, right? So let's draw that again. We've got our pentagon sugar, our phosphate group, and I'm going to draw it on this side this time because the backbone, this blue structure that I draw, is actually always made out of this phosphate group. So that's the backbone on this side, and then if we looked on the other side here, I would draw it like this, right? And then we have our nitrogenous base. So earlier I talked about nitrogenous base, but I didn't really mention what it was, which is kind of stupid, so I'll go back and do that now. So nitrogenous base you might know nitrogen, the element. It actually makes up a large portion, the largest portion of the air that we breathe in. That's nitrogen gas. So this is just nitrogen. I'm not going to draw out the chemical structure because it's different for every base, and we have 4 bases. We have A, G, T, and C. And this is adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So, when we have this double-stranded DNA structure, let's say that's the backbone, we have these 2 bases here that are going to connect, right? So I'll redraw it again here. A will always connect with T, in DNA, and C will always connect with G. And it's the same thing if I switched it the other way. If I did G on this side and C on this side, they always connect. G will never connect with A, T will never connect with C, and, all the other ones. So these will always connect, and these will always connect. And this is what's known as base pairs. So if we pretended that these were 2 bases here, this would be a base pair. So what does this mean for creating who you are as a human? So DNA, with all of these the nitrogenous bases that we have, it lays out, this is just me making a random sequence, any sequence of letters, and in that sequence, you will have what's known as a gene. So I don't want to go too far into genetics today because this is just the super basics, and you're probably only here because you have a test that requires you to know what DNA is. So let's just say ACG here is a gene. This will code for a specific, what we'll call it a phenotype. This is the genotype, but it will code for a phenotype that will prove who you are. Right, so let's say that this was a gene for having asthma. I don't know. Literally anything. If this is the gene for having asthma, if ACG is asthma, did not spell that right, but that's how you spell that right. And let's say ACC was normal, this person would express asthma, right? So that's all I really wanted to say about genes today. They basically just make up who you are as a person, and however wonderful or not so wonderful you may be. So, yeah. That's all I wanted to say about DNA. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on Sunday. Goodbye.